Rajat Gupta. He is a true rags to riches story. From a once teenage orphan in India, he found his way to Harvard University and eventually worked his way up to CEO at the prestigious McKinsey & Company consulting firm. He retired from his corporate day-to-day position and went on to serve on numerous boards of prominent firms and nonprofit organizations. Think the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Procter & Gamble, American Airlines, and notably, Goldman Sachs. By the year 2008, it's estimated that Gupta was worth $100 million. And just to put $100 million into perspective, if you applied the rule of 4%, that would give you an annual income of $4 million a year, or broken down by day, $11,000 every single day for the rest of your life. I don't know about you, but if I was getting $11,000 every single day, I would actually find it kind of hard to spend that much. Seemingly by every measure imaginable, Gupta had made it, but his goal was to be a billionaire, and he was in New York City, constantly rubbing elbows with some of the greatest and most wealthiest investors, many who often had much more than $100 million. In 2008, he was serving on the board of Goldman Sachs when he received word that Warren Buffett, the legend himself, was going to be pumping $5 billion into the company to save it. Immediately after learning about this, Gupta phoned a friend who happened to be a hedge fund manager and purchased 175,000 shares of Goldman Sachs stock. A couple hours later, Warren Buffett's investment in Goldman Sachs was made public, and as you can guess, the stock shot up in price, and Gupta made a quick $1 million. Score, right? Well, slight problem. What Gupta did has a name. It's called insider trading, and it's considered a felony by the US government. You can probably guess what happens next. Gupta was arrested, subsequently convicted, served out 2 years in prison, and ended up paying $5 million in fines. Whoopsies. Gupta never felt like he had enough. Even when his net worth was in excess of $100 million, he was willing to commit a felony for just $1 million more. Comparatively, when you have $100 million, an extra $1 million isn't that much. It's just a little bit more. It's 1% more. It's not an earth-shattering sum. Another name that's recently made headlines is Elizabeth Holmes, the Stanford dropout who went on to found a biotech company, Theranos, which was supposed to be able to test blood samples with just a drop of blood. Her quest was to become a billionaire, and for a short while, she was dubbed just that. She was named the youngest female billionaire by Forbes magazine. However, her success was short-lived as it came to light that her company was built on a stack of lies, and the company was not able to successfully perform the tests it said it could. Just 1 year later, Forbes named Holmes one of the world's most disappointing leaders and assessed her net worth to zero. She's been convicted of fraud and is currently out on bail, awaiting sentencing. The motive here was money, the quest to become a billionaire, no matter what the cost. Building wealth is a great thing, but so too is knowing when you have enough. If you never feel like you have enough, you will never be satisfied. There's a good chance if you're watching this video, you're good with your money. You're working, you're saving, you're investing for your future. You may not have $100 million, but there will come a day when you have enough to live out your every dream in life. And acknowledging that you have enough, that's a powerful thing. Gupta never felt like he had enough, even when he had a net worth in excess of $100 million. And in large part, that's because of who he surrounded himself with, his social circle. The people around him had more than him. Many of them were billionaires. At the end of the day, there will always be someone who makes more than you. I remember for the longest time growing up, Bill Gates was the wealthiest man in the world. But recently, Jeff Bezos took over that spot. And then even more recently, Elon Musk came along and dethroned him. Social comparison is the thief of all joy. There will always be someone who is wealthier, more fit, more talented, has a nicer home, a newer home, a more attractive spouse, more talented children, just to name a few. Attempting to be better than someone or everyone is a loser's game. Because even if you succeed for a moment, a day, a month, a year, in whatever category you're trying to be the very best in, eventually someone will come along and dethrone you. The only way to win is to simply never compete. Because at the end of the day, life is not a competition between you and everyone else. It's you trying to be better than who you were yesterday. You trying to take steps closer to your personal goals. It doesn't matter how anyone else is doing relative to you or how you are doing relative to anyone else. At the end of the day, it's not between you and them, it's just you. And I really think this is worth mentioning because I've made a handful of fun little videos where I talk about wealth and net worth based on income and by percentile. And inevitably, there is always a comment or two where someone is like, well, my income puts me in this category and my net worth puts me in this category. So where am I really? These videos are meant to be fun. This kind of comment is looking at it from too literal of a sense. These videos are not meant to be taken literally. Where you are is on your own personal journey, irrespective of anyone else's net worth or income. These videos are far and away my most watched videos, but they're not necessarily the ones I'm most proud of. They're fun to make, the stats are fun to see, and they stir up conversation. But I've said it before and I will say it again, finance is personal. At the end of the day, it really only matters how you are doing for yourself, for your family. That's it. It doesn't matter how anyone else is doing. The other part of the equation in having enough is knowing when you've reached the finish line. Let's say you're in a job that you absolutely love, but you wish you made more money. Are you willing to go get a job that you like less simply because it pays more? Ultimately, that's a personal question. Only you can answer that one. I remember interviewing for a job that paid $20,000 more than the one I was working at the time, but it would have required that I worked Fridays. Ultimately, I turned down the job. $20,000 more would have been nice, but I love having a free Friday, and apparently I value my free Fridays at more than $20,000. It's the same with net worth. What's your goal? What's your financial independence number? At what point can you let off the gas and let your hair down a little bit and just enjoy life a little more? Really have that number in mind and stick to it. Because it's really easy to hit your goal and then move the goal. Move the goalpost a little further down the road. Let's say that your financial independence number is $2 million. Let's say you hit it. It's easy to go, well, maybe I should go for 2.5 million, or maybe I should go for 3. One of the hardest things for people to say is I have enough. We live in a culture and a society that is constantly telling us more is better. But honestly, sometimes acknowledging your success, acknowledging that you've reached your goal and allowing yourself the freedom to enjoy life a little bit more, that can be better than chasing the next higher number. Now, of course, I want you to be successful as you can possibly be, but I also want you to enjoy your life. If you never get to feel that joy of hitting your goal because you're constantly moving the goalpost further and further down the road, well, that's not a great feeling either. Life is meant to be enjoyed. I was actually one of those naive kids who made the statement of, one day I want to be a billionaire. But then I read the book, The Snowball. It's all about Warren Buffett and his life. And if you know me, you know I'm a huge Buffett fan. Actually, when we drove across the country, I made sure that we detoured through Omaha so I could see Kiewit Plaza, get a picture out front. And if you haven't been to Omaha, it's a beautiful city. No, I did not see Warren Buffett, so that kind of crushed my dreams a little bit, but I really enjoyed my time there. But reading about his life made me say, I don't want to be a billionaire. The sacrifice is too much. Warren Buffett is amazing at what he does, but he's pretty terrible at work-life balance. Most billionaires are. Warren Buffett routinely skipped out on vacations with his family, and if they could convince him to come, he didn't leave the hotel room because he wanted to be by the phone to make business calls. They got him to finally come to the ocean with him. He brought his newspapers so he could catch up on the news. He didn't even go in the ocean. His family got a dog. The dog ended up being adopted by the neighbor because nobody was there to take care of the dog. Elon Musk is known for sleeping in his factory. The point is, to be a billionaire, you have to be willing to sacrifice a lot. And I was not willing to sacrifice that much. I want to spend time with my family. I want to go on vacations and actually enjoy them. And if I'm at the ocean, you better believe I'm going in the ocean. I want to have a daily fetch session with my dog. I don't want to put my entire life on the back burner in an attempt to chase a higher net worth. So chase your goals, chase your dreams, but also acknowledge when you've hit them. Don't constantly be striving for the next best thing. Allow yourself to feel like I have enough. And one final point, it's beyond senseless to gamble what you need for what you don't. Once you've hit your goal, don't go risking it all to make a quick buck. Let's say that your goal for retirement is $2 million. You hit it. Don't go gambling that $2 million. Don't lay it all on the line, because that $2 million represents a safe, secure future. That's your entire retirement. Don't gamble it all to make a quick buck. Going back to Gupta, remember, he had $100 million. That is so much money. He was willing to break the law, commit a felony, just for an extra million. Actually, according to the reports, he committed insider trading several times and in total netted himself an additional $17 million. But that's besides the point. An extra million, an extra 17 million did not matter to him or his lifestyle. He had $100 million. He was already financially secure. It was pointless and senseless to risk it all. He got greedy and he wanted more, and in the process, he lost the most important thing, his reputation. He's not ruined financially. Ultimately, he only had to pay $5 million in fines, so he's fine. He probably has much more than $90 million still. But what a waste. He had to spend 2 years of his life in prison. You can never get those years back. Getting greedy and stupid can totally ruin you. Once you've hit your financial goal, allow yourself to say, that's enough. Don't let greed and pride consume you. Once you've hit your goal, if you want to keep working and investing and building wealth, great, go for it. I'm not saying that once you hit your number that you all of a sudden have to quit. But just allow yourself to know that you have enough to do whatever you want to do. Anything after that, well, that's just a bonus. Well, that's gonna do it for me today, guys. Share your thoughts in a comment down below. I always love reading them. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Or if you know of anyone who might enjoy this type of content, please consider sharing. I post new videos every single week, so I'll see you soon. Bye.